The hotel clerk smiled, typed a few more keys, and unknowingly shattered every wall I had spent 3 years building around my heart. One room, one king-size bed, one weekend trapped with the woman I had once promised forever to. Except now she believed I was engaged to her own sister. In that moment, every regret I had buried came rushing back, and I realized that pretending to be someone else might cost me the only person I had never truly stopped loving. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, hope, forgiveness, compassion, and second chances, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who loves heartfelt stories, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Your support helps these stories reach more hearts around the world. My name is Nathan, and I lived in Columbus, Ohio, where life had become wonderfully ordinary. I worked as an architect, kept to myself, and avoided anything that reminded me of my past. 3 years earlier, my relationship with Rebecca had ended not because we stopped loving each other, but because life had pushed us in opposite directions. Her mother became seriously ill in North Carolina, while I had just accepted the biggest project of my career in Ohio. Neither of us wanted the other to sacrifice a lifelong dream. We chose responsibility over love, believing time would make the pain disappear. It never did. Then, on a quiet Thursday afternoon, I received an unexpected phone call from Rebecca's younger sister, Grace. She sounded nervous and embarrassed. Their extended family was gathering at a luxury resort in Asheville for their grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary. Grace had spent months pretending she was engaged because her relatives constantly pressured her about being single. Days before the celebration, the man she had asked to pretend to be her fiancé canceled. Desperate, she begged me to help. At first, I refused. The thought of seeing Rebecca again seemed impossible. But Grace reminded me that her grandparents had always treated me like family, and that this celebration meant everything to them. Against every instinct, I agreed. Walking into the hotel lobby felt like stepping into another lifetime. The familiar laughter, the warm southern accents, the scent of fresh flowers decorating every hallway, it all brought memories flooding back. Then I saw Rebecca standing beside the grand staircase, helping her grandmother arrange family photographs. She looked different, more mature, yet somehow exactly the same. When our eyes met, surprise filled her face before she politely smiled. It wasn't anger that hurt the most. It was the distance. The family welcomed me kindly, believing Grace's carefully rehearsed story without question. Rebecca remained gracious, though every conversation between us felt careful, measured, almost painfully polite. We avoided mentioning the years that had passed or the dreams that had slipped away. That evening, after the welcome banquet, Grace admitted the truth. She had secretly arranged another guest room for herself because she couldn't continue lying comfortably. Unfortunately, a plumbing emergency had flooded several hotel floors, forcing management to reorganize every reservation. By the time we reached the front desk, only one room remained available. The clerk apologized repeatedly while handing over a single key card. Rebecca had also been relocated after water damaged her room. Without realizing the complicated history between us, the hotel assigned us together. Neither of us argued. We were simply too stunned. The room overlooked the Blue Ridge Mountains. It should have felt peaceful, but silence settled between us like an invisible wall. We divided the space respectfully, speaking only when necessary. Yet as the hours passed, memories quietly found their way into the room. We noticed the same habits we still shared. We both reached for coffee before sunrise. We both smiled at old family photographs displayed during the anniversary celebration. We still remembered each other's favorite songs without saying a word. Over the next 2 days, pretending became exhausting. Grace finally confessed everything to the family, expecting disappointment. Instead, everyone laughed with relief, admitting they had suspected something was unusual from the beginning. Her grandparents simply hugged her and thanked her for wanting everyone to enjoy the celebration. With the secret gone, Rebecca and I finally found ourselves sitting alone beside the resort's quiet lake. There were no dramatic speeches or impossible promises. There were only two people willing for the first time to admit that love had never disappeared. We spoke honestly about fear, ambition, family responsibilities, and the mistakes that pride had allowed to grow bigger than affection. What surprised me most was discovering that neither of us blamed the other anymore. We had both carried guilt that never belonged to one person alone. When the anniversary celebration ended, Rebecca's grandfather quietly placed his hand on my shoulder. He told me that lasting love was rarely about perfect timing. It was about two imperfect people deciding that understanding mattered more than winning old arguments. Those words stayed with me. Over the following months, neither of us rushed anything. Rebecca accepted a position closer to Ohio. I learned that making room for someone else was not losing myself. Together, we built something stronger than what we had before, not because our past disappeared, but because we finally learned from it. Before we reach the end of this story, I'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment and tell us, do you believe true love deserves a second chance when two people have genuinely grown? Your thoughts may encourage someone who needs hope today. A year later, I stood beside Rebecca beneath a small white chapel overlooking rolling green hills in Ohio. Grace smiled proudly from the front row, joking that her fake engagement had somehow led to a very real wedding. Everyone laughed, but tears filled many eyes because they understood something deeper had happened. Forgiveness had quietly rewritten a story that once seemed finished. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, share it with someone who believes in second chances, and subscribe for more emotional stories that remind us hope is never wasted. Sometimes life doesn't bring people back together because the past was perfect. Sometimes it brings them back because they finally become the people they needed to be. And when kindness, patience, and forgiveness lead the way, even the most unexpected room assignment can become the first chapter of a beautiful new beginning.